This is very important for us in this period of African partnership for conducting proper, free and fair and credible elections, learning from our own experiences within the continent. The Commission will make available not only knowledge of the processes that led to the production and validation of the INEC strategic plan and the strategic program of action, but also our election project plan. There is no controversy. INEC is not creating 30,000 polling units, full stop.
We are looking for the strategic plan because we know that Nigeria, the first strategic plan, they successfully achieved it by 75%, over 75%. So which makes it a record. That's why we came here to learn what they are doing to strategize the elections, because we are prone to snap elections. So we are just crossing our fingers that by 2022 we'll go for the next one. At least it takes 5 years from this year.
We'll have Dr. Tanko, who is a presidential aspirant of the NCP, joining us this morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's start off with the comments from INEC. I mean, perhaps that report in Vanguard over the weekend, how they had reported, and largely too, that INEC were considering coming up with some polling units or is it voting points. INEC themselves have spoken up, we just had the chairman, but the CPS also yesterday, just flatly denying, saying no such thing, even if it's in process, they can't do any of such without informing political parties, such as yours. But listening to what they've said in response to the reports that made the rounds over the weekend, what were your thoughts and conclusions?
Really, we've been making this kind of mistake. Anytime we are about to have an election, that is when probably the issue of this delineation will come up. And it's quite unfortunate because when an issue of that magnitude come up, it sends a lot of chill around the spines of contestants. I can say this with due respect to INEC. I'm glad that INEC chairman said they have not consulted the political parties. And that is very, very
They said that they will not do, the CPS said yesterday, they wouldn't do any of such without informing the stakeholders, of which political parties are key.
Yes, and I think even if they do, this is not the right time for that particular delineation. It ought to have been done immediately after the election has taken place. And so the next thing that will have been done was to have the delineation. Because if you do it during the time of election or close to election, it will send a wrong signal and people will believe there is an ulterior motive trying to give an advantage to certain group of contestants. And that will not be acceptable for political parties, really, especially now that it's very, very close to the election.
What about even if they say, because yesterday they said that communities are the ones that are requesting that they need voting points. They need to participate as well.
This is not a new issue. Let me just say this. Many people do not even understand when they say probably delineation. And at a particular time, the political parties themselves have to be quickly educated as regard to what actually is delineation. And what actually is delineation? Delineation is actually indicating the borderline within an area or boundary. And the INEC book indicates clearly that you must have 75,000 voters in an area that will constitute a voting point. And really, a lot of areas have been disenchanted from actually giving them a voting point because many areas have been created, a large number has been established. But the fact still remains that you can't do this when it comes close to election. Even touting it creates a lot of insinuation, and people start thinking that, yes, there may be a time now, maybe INEC will not indicate that they want to do a delineation. And I think it's not supposed to be discussed at this particular point in time.
Could this be an afterthought, do you think?
No, it has been on for quite a long time. But my problem is that they always bring it up during period of election.
So if they tried to bring it up leading up to the 2015 elections,
Yes.
and we're seeing it again now, what time do you think, if you say that it ought to have been done, maybe probably just immediately after the 2015 elections, is there a better time to do it, actually?
Yes, that's the better time. That's the better time. Immediately when you are after election, at least people will not have any particular misgiving that probably is during the period of election that you are trying to do the delineation. And besides, that is the reason why many of us have been agitating that INEC should be balkanized.
How do you mean?
Yes, INEC should be broken down into three. INEC should concentrate on actually conducting election. There must be a commission for enforcement of election malpractices. And the third one had to do with the delineation, which we think should not be even an INEC issue. Should be done by the National Population Commission, probably in conjunction with the National Bureau of Statistics. Those ones can now quickly and diligently give exact position as regard to where this particular population actually is sited. Because if you saddle it with the INEC, INEC has too much work on its head. There's too much work on the INEC head.
When you say another body should be responsible for enforcing electoral malpractice,
Yes.
Isn't that what the police is there for?
Well, yes, police is there. But police itself is starting with a lot of responsibility. There's so much. And in fact, the police itself has been organized in such a way that you have road safety, VIOs, and all of those ones trying to help the police to perform its duty. But when you have a commission will look at the nitty-gritty of every action, what precipitated it, how it was done, and when it is done, and what ought to be recommended for disciplinary action. And they will be concisely dealing with that particular matter. We've had a lot of issues about electoral malpractices. At the end of it all, the legal department of INEC is saddled with a heap of legal issues.